The Stochastic fiction game. This is a timed writing game. I'm only going to give myself 1 hour today. Uh, and I'm going to write a story within that 1 hour. And that story is going to be based upon the outline that's just been created with that script I just executed. Let's open up this outline and play this stochastic fiction game for the next, well, less than an hour. For today's stochastic fiction game, we'll be writing a story to these stochastic fiction elements and reading it at the end and rating it. Those elements that will be writing the story and will shape this story with a data set in my mind are setting time present, setting main location space, conflict person versus destiny, quantity of primary characters many, point of view third, tense present tense, genre tall tale. Flash fiction is the format. At least I can get this all done in one simple story, and if it's a jumble of bad, messy words, well then, that's what they'll be. Yeah, I'm lost. I should go back and look at those story elements because drinking that coffee had me sidetracked and not wanting to think about a tall tale story right about now, to be honest. Not another one. Tall tale is not a fable. It usually is about a human doing extraordinary things to tell a moral story. I think it's usually like, you think of John Henry, Pecos Bill. Most of them were gendered male. What was the wow? Yeah, I mean like Babe the Blue Ox. I guess the ox was an ox. I think it had a set of balls on it. I can't remember. I don't think it ever showed up in any of those cartoons I watched when I was in elementary school, sitting on the classroom floor, watching the cartoons of Paul Bunyan, Babe the Blue Ox. I think the tall tale that I can think was basically Paul Bunyan was cutting down forests in one swoop of the axe. Babe the Blue Ox's hooves walking across created all the lakes. They elude my mind, even though I've been to Boundary Waters. Anyway, I only can recall certain things so fast. They're very deep. It just takes a little while longer. Quantity of primary characters, many, point of their third, tense, present tense. Okay. At least I can slip into the pencil. But space. Tall tale in space. Oh, wow. We gotta have like the supernaut, maybe. Like, what's in space that could serve as some sort of like man versus machine or man versus destiny? This is conflicts person versus destiny. So now I have to make a tall tale, I suppose, that has to do with person versus destiny. So their destiny. So there's in space in 55 minutes. In third person, that's fine. Present tense, that's great. Just space. And it's present time, so it's not like I can rely upon, which is better because if it was the past, I'm old enough now that half my age is what someone would consider a distant past. So I could just pull from my memories of the 80s to be able to satisfy space and talk about a space shuttle or Sputnik. Person versus destiny in space. So they got an astronaut in space right now. and they're competing with a machine, or they're doing something like lassoing space junk. Maybe that's it. Yeah. Let's go there because I don't got much time. They're going to be lassoing space junk. And the tall tale is that they could clean up space, much like, and I got it from, I think, uh, Pecos Bill. I remember the story of Pecos Bill lassoing the tornado to be able to suck up water, to then bring that water someplace. For some reason, I feel like somehow a tall tale was how the Rio Grande was made. So I guess I got to like think of like how space junk was made. I guess space junk. I mean, I don't got a lot of time to talk about it, and that's good because I'm really tired of talking about action and not doing. And I'm flying around in a, so it's, I don't have my, damn it, my dice, so I can just randomly pick some gender, and then have that. Let's see. Fudge. It don't matter. It's gonna be a space person. Um, I I don't know. It's about space junk. Like that's what I'm seeing right now. But like I guess I got to go. Like there is probably maybe this would be closer to John Henry, but I don't see any humans right now losing their jobs to robots in space collecting space junk. So there would be like no competition. Like if this was future, I guess that's the thing. If this was in the future, then I could do that. But it's the present time, and it's in space. So that'd be like on a space station. And what'd be like an incredible feat of someone who's an astronaut on a space station or a space shuttle for that matter, or space capsule. And they're like the tall tale. Maybe I'll make it funny. It's a tall tale after all. Maybe that's what I could do. Oh, okay. Maybe. This is gonna be funny. And they are some. They're always ridiculous, right? But they're probably not this comical. I mean, I guess maybe this is what the tall tale that this current day astronauts tell each other. And so what the tall tale that I'm thinking of is that the rocket gets them to space, but then runs out of fuel. So the astronaut gets out of the rocket, the space capsule, and uses their farts to propel them to the space station. That's it. Farts in space. I'm gonna call it that. Or at least right now. It could be farts. Farts in space. I like the farts in space. Farts something. So we'll start with where and what the conflict is. Farts in space. Farts in space. The rocket fuel, the rocket thruster dimmed near the edge because, like, once you break free of, the Earth's gravitational pull, and I'm no scientist and I'm not going to search the internet to find out what that distance is, but it gets less and less. So you need less thrust. And you don't need consistent propulsion once you're free of that, so it could diminish. So I want to at least write into here that it's still close enough for the gravity to matter. The rocket thruster stalled, shook, clanked, installed. The rocket truster, the rocket thrusters. What's it gonna do? The rocket. I should have probably not dimmed the microphone because I just literally farted and we're talking about farts, so it probably would have. Damn it. I'm almost upset. Usually yeah, but I guess you wouldn't be able to smell it in space. So the rocket thruster clogged, dimmed, shook. The astronaut what's the name? Tran flipped the astronaut. Tran, let's label this person. The astronaut Tran flipped the thruster off switch before the rocket exploded. The Earth gravity pulled. That's what it's doing. Pulled the rocket and its capsule tip. Its space capsule. Um, or degree of any sort. The Earth's gravity pulled the rocks in its space capsule tip. The rocket tumbled and started to fall to Earth. Fran pulled manual capsule release lever. Who had been farting all morning. Who his beans this morning. Loved beans. Like, that's like everyone knows, or everyone at least tells themselves. Like, maybe it's the protein. I don't know. I don't know if there's any scientific proof behind this. I don't know if someone's done studies, but I'm just going to use the old sort of people who eat beans fart. And the smell of their farts. Smell of their own farts. I mean, I like the smell of my farts. Sorry, I'm going to say that out loud, but well, maybe like's not it. Like, I don't mind it. And, maybe sometimes it's like, at least it's my fart. And because I've never enjoyed other humans' farts or animals' farts or farts in general unless they come from me. I wouldn't write a poem. Well, I probably would write a poem about my farts. In fact, I gotta probably write a poem about my farts. I should. I've done it about picking my nose. Let's go. Let's write about farts. I can do that in 42 minutes. Hell yes, I can write this story about farts in space. Who loved beans and the smell of their farts. Fran, who loved beans and the smell of their farts, pulled the manual release lever. Am I wrong here? 10 years. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Who loved beans and the smell of their farts. Pulled the manual release lever. I got so sidetracked right now. I wasn't even thinking about farts, unfortunately. It would have been better if I was. I think I got thinking about spec-driven development. That's so much a thought in my mind right now. I just got to like talk about it so I can get over it and start thinking about farts in the story again. That's trouble. There's a lot of thought going on in the mind. Let's focus on Fran, who loved beans and the smell of their farts. Pulled the manual. Pulls, present tense. Man, that's crazy. Like, typically, I'm a present tense person, and I have problems with past tense, and I started past tense. Wow. I'm glad I'm keeping this transcript because I gotta say it's been a long time since I've defaulted to past tense. Am I writing? I wasn't. I guess I did shook, not oh, it'd be shakes, right? Wow, shakes. The astronaut Tran flips. Wow. I think I'm writing. Am I writing "Pray of God" in past tense? I don't think I am. Explodes before the rocket explodes. The Earth's gravity pulls. Thank you. Starts to fall to Earth. Uh, I don't. Who loves beans and the smell of their farts. Pulls the manual release lever. The capsule's manual release lever. I don't capsules manual release lever. This reminds me there's a book I'm trying to get published called Illegal Alien. It's about how basically the haves are making the have-nots fight each other. And I just this triggered it because I found mistakes. Like I've been doing this, edited this book, read through it many times. I found like obvious syntax mistakes. Even went through Grammarly, and I didn't pick it up. Crazy. Anyway, pulls the capsule's manually release lever. Manual release. The capsule's manual release lever. The capsule separates. Tran feels Tran releases the safety belt. I don't. Tran releases the safety belt from their seat. Tran falls with the shuttle, with the capsule. Pretty quick. Tran falls with the capsule. Like and burst in pulls the emergency door handle. Like, I guess you don't need to, like, do anything other than, like, I had some image in my mind, honestly. Like, now that I'm thinking about this, why would you release the capsule? Originally, I was thinking Tran would release the capsule so they could get out of it and push it with their farts to the space station. But it's not like Tran's the cargo it's delivering. And even if it had important cargo, like that's not part of the story. It's not the tall tale. I don't think I'm going to have the door explode. Who loves beans and smell of their farts? I don't want. I should name it better. I'm going to leave farts in space. But that'd be like if it was a Muppet, like pigs in outer space, farts in space. Maybe if it was something related to a cartoon, which I'm not saying this couldn't, but I'd see a little bit more adult. I guess not so. I mean, kids love farts. At least the humor of it. So pulls the manual release lever. Okay, so Tran releases their safety belt. I don't. What does it mean? What do you don't? Yeah. Like, I don't. Falls with the capsule, pulls the energy door handle. Emergency. I keep on thinking about spec-driven development. That's so... Man, farts are so much more funner than that. I'm thinking about writing code and not English right now, or American English. This story. Tran falls from the capsule. Okay, so releases their safety belt from the seat. Pulls the emergency door handle. Pulls the emergency... The bolts explode. I've got 30 minutes. And let's see. So the door explodes from the door and twirls into space. All right. Fran follows. Fran kicks from the seat. And flies. And flows. And launches from the capsule. And now I probably got to pause. Unfortunately, deal with my human body and this need for water. Okay. Well, I did not fart. TMI. But, well, that's where I'm at with this writing in my life. Deal with it. Farts in space. We got 25 more minutes. I'm almost done. Like, because I guess I like all fables are past, like, it just, fables work better past tense. Maybe that's why I fell into it now that I think about it, because I was automatically thinking Fran kicked. Because a fable, this ain't a fable, it's a tall tale. A tall tale is usually past tense because it's like the lore that you tell when you're around the campfire. Like, if I was up in space, I'd, in telling the story, it'd be like, oh, you never heard the one about Fran. I guess you could tell present tense. Anyway, sneeze not there, nose itchy. Fran kicks from the seat and launches from the capsule. Capsule? Like, Fran kicks from the seat and launches from the capsule. Kicks from the seat and launches from the capsule. Flies to space. Flies into space. And falls toward the earth. Tran was saving a fart to save her. After the fart to release and savor the flavor. After the rocket broke free from Tran was saving a fart to release and savor the flavor of the smell after the rocket broke free from the grip. To savor the flavor of the smell after the rocket broke free from the grip. Of the rocket ship. After the rocket broke free from the grip of the Earth's gravity and was nearing the space station. Where he'd would stain his farts. Stains their farts. There we go. Yeah, I need a fart day. I mean, this is 19 minutes left. I'm almost there. Farts in space. I gotta think of a better title. 100%. So Tran was saving a fart to release and savor the flavor of the smell after the rocket broke free from the grip of the Earth's gravity and was nearing the space station where other people's farts would stain their farts stink. Fran wasn't sure if it was a fart or a poop. Because if I could have fart and poop in the same story, that's a good story. Fran wasn't sure if it was a fart or a poop. Giving them more reason, or Fran wasn't sure if it was a fart or a poop to give them reason. Fran wasn't sure if it was a fart or a poop to give them reason to be. Give them a thrust. Fran farted. I mean, really, it would, right? I mean, it would. I'm not going to look this up on the Western Wide Web or some large language model. I mean, yeah, I don't think so. Fran wasn't sure if it was a fart or a poop to be giving them reason to them to trust, to give them a thrust. Fran's farts burst from butt. I gotta do some alliteration from burst from their butt and boosted their body through space. Fran farted and flew between satellites and cargo pods. Fran tooted and scooted. Oh, this is gonna be good. Fran tooted and scooted. That's if it's fact I wrote that today, will make this feel like it was accomplished something in my life right now. Fran farted and flew between satellites and cargo pods. Fran tooted and scooted toward the space station. Stress. Yeah, it probably came through my breath just blowing right in the microphone. I guess maybe I wanted that effect. I didn't. I had a side thought about spec-driven development and the stress of life and the changing world of my work. That is not as much fun of a thought as farts and tooting and scooting. Toots and scoots, Fran. Toots and scoots. Toots and scoots. That's better than tooted. And I guess if you're like, you tell in the present tense, right? At least I would, because I'm told to with these story elements. And I don't. My Fran farts and flies between satellites and cargo pods. Fran farts and flies between satellites and cargo pods. Fran tooted and scooted toward the space station. Fran squirted and flirted. Was that poop? They felt it coming. That poop. Fran flew through space, savoring the sweet fumes of their farts. And released them Okay, I'm done. You ever hear the story? Let's not. I don't know. I mean, it's like a shallow outline, but it's a flash fiction story. And what else am I gonna write? I got 11 minutes left. I mean, that's like I gotta do it in the title. What's some of the like? Oh, it'd be so much better if it was instead of Tran, it was Fran. Because then I could do alliteration. Fran farts. Fran's like Pico's Bill and her space farts. Fran's Fran farts in space. The Legend of Fran farts. I gotta change it. I gotta change that name. And like Fran's heavily gendered, at least in the language model that I exist, I absorb from society or whatever you want to call it. Like let me just say, Fran farts. That's better. Cause I don't know. Man, this is what I'm looking for. Let's just do a find and replace. I forgot the regular expression stuff. Let's do this, Fran. I feel like I use the word Tran a lot, which I like that name, but I like Fran because it is alliteration. And I just feel like I need a alliteration for my tall tale. And when you're talking about farts and poops in a comic fashion, I suppose, from my mind, and it looks like I just naturally went to the Fran at the end anyway. The story of Fran Farts. The legendary, the fascinating, fascinating the fascinating flight of Fran Farts. That's it. All right. Oh no, this is the story for today. I think this is gonna. I was, yeah. I mean, I'm only going to rate this a 4 just because it's called The Fascinating Story of Fran Farts. With everything going on in the world and life, it's good to smile. Let's see if it does. So, for today's stochastic fiction game story, written with these story elements: setting time present, setting main location space, conflict person versus destiny, and they're destined to get there. Quantity of primary characters, many. That's one or more. Okay, so I've going to be knocked a little bit for not having the mini. I guess I could put. Let's do that. Let's fix that. Sorry. I mean, I got 7 minutes left. In the cargo hold, where their farts mixed with the farts of the crew clapping. I don't know. Clapping. We just put many people in there. That's a cop out. Destiny, sure. Let's go back to these story elements and not read them again, but go to point of view third, yes. Present tense, yep. Tall tale, maybe. Flash fiction, I think so. Has a resolution, conflict. So for today's stochastic fiction game story with those story elements, we have the story, The Fascinating Flight of Fran Farts. The rocket thruster clogs, dims, shakes. The astronaut Fran flips the thruster off switch before the rocket explodes. The Earth's gravity pulls the rocket and its space capsule tip. The rocket tumbles and starts to fall to Earth. Fran, who loves beans and the smell of their farts, releases their safety belt from their seat, pulls the emergency door handle. The door explodes from the capsule and twirls into space. Fran kicks from the seat and launches from the capsule, flies into space, and falls towards Earth. Fran was saving a fart to release and savor the flavor of the smell after the rocket broke free of the Earth's gravity and was nearing the space station, where other people's farts would stain their fart stink. Fran wasn't sure if it was a fart or a poop to give them reason to give them a thrust. Fran farts burst from their butt and boosted body through space. Fran farts and flies between satellites and cargo pods. Fran toots and scoots toward the space station. Fran squirts and flirts with a poop. Fran flies through space and savors the sweet fumes of their farts and releases into the cargo hold, where their farts mix with the farts of the crew, clapping and a few farting for her arrival. Well, I went past tense at the end of that. I mean, I missed parameters. I'd have to knock, if I was truly not rating this on some subjective basis of this, then I would say editing it may help the smell like perfume. Yeah, I'm still giving it a 4. I mean, it's called The Fascinating Flight of Fran Farts. That at least elevates it to a 2. Even though, technically one, it's poop. Let's be done. I still have a smile on my face. Again, some days writing can be fun. A lot of days it's just a slog. Like getting this thing completed is a slog. That, I guess, was a little bit fun, at least today. Not always. That's why I try to post some of these videos where it doesn't go well. Write the story inspired by the game and life and farts. I think it is a 4 because of the name alone. But the story ain't bad. But I did miss some parameters. And that was writing. And with time left on this clock, and with our lives, let's, I don't know, write more stories about farts. They stink, but there's a lot of other stinky stuff going around right now, and if that's all you write about, well, then you become part of that stink. I'd much rather try to write about farts once in a while.